Well, hello everyone. Right here to talk about for next are the best subjects right here, and it basically talks about for subjects though that I'm sure that most students that would have certain subjects if it's going to be English 1 and 2 or maybe English and advanced grammar sorts of subjects though, but talk about for subjects and in courses as well as for enrollments. So you have some examples right here I want to put together right here. I'll talk about, for students though. And with these students that you're likely thinking that while you're in school and then maybe that you're going to be given a schedule and that schedule is going to say something like, exactly, for English and then maybe world paraphrase, there's going to maybe a class that they're going to want you to take maybe in the afternoon and maybe 1 in the morning and and especially that if you get into college, then there's going to be courses that they're going to tell you about what courses that you're going to need to be there, what the courses that you'll be scheduled to to take. But talk about right here, or talk about subjects that if you want to call it like they have like a source of sequel, if you want to call it. I don't know if exactly if you want to call it like kind of like a sequel that. Back whenever I was in middle school and back whenever I was in high school, that there was a course or a subject that how many of us have maybe stayed after school just to be able to participate in any school events? If it's I guess band, like if you were in band at that, some of those may have been an after school event or some sort, But talk about that for like a sequel though, and so if we were to be thinking as to where that we've heard of that subjects such as calculus 1 and calculus 2 with mathematics and then long division problems source of studies like that. But how many of us have really thought of that to where that if there's going to be like a calculus 2 and then the calculus 3, so there's like calculus 1 and calculus 2, and maybe geometry 1 and 2, and maybe geometry B and geometry C, that goes by A, B, or C, and so I like to think is to where that a lot of these kids would maybe think is to where that whenever they're going to be exactly if they're going to take one course out of one block or out of a quarter, that they're going to go ahead and take these courses. And just think about it to where that I kind of call this, I would call this activity right here next to the best, just because that exactly that whenever you enroll into a course though, and basically about what is required whenever you're taking these courses. And a lot of times you think that is to where that a certain subject that you thought that you already had, exactly. You took that back in middle school, and the school's going to tell you that you got to take that, take it again, or they're going to say, well, you got to go ahead and pass this course just to be able to succeed, to the next level, and for any source of achievement. So let's just say that. Exactly. There was a science class that you had to take. And so I say that they're going to maybe have like, physiology, it's like, source of physiology science or something like that, the earth science 2 or something like that. They're going to maybe have, science 1, science 2, and science 3. But I provide right here of English 1 and English 2 and English 3 right here. So, like I say that, does that basically mean is that supposed to be like a sequel, or is it supposed to be like what you call the higher level of the learning experience, to where that exactly that whenever you're playing a game that it goes by level 1, level 2, and it gets even harder. Yeah, it gets even harder whenever you go to level 2 and level 3. It gets even more complicated, and I don't know if there's exactly that. If we're playing one of those crossword puzzles and find out that there's going to be what you call level 1 and 2 and level 2 and 3, or usually, it gets harder by each round, round 1 and round 2 and maybe round 3 gets harder. So, like I say that, with these students right here, that it seems like, to where that, whenever you're going to be in these subjects though, and, it's like I say, is to where next to the best is to where that basically that whenever you first start going to school, or maybe you start getting your schedule, and maybe the schools, or they're going to put you on a schedule to maybe take about maybe 38 weeks or so of courses, or maybe about altogether about maybe 145 weeks, about 145 weeks of courses, and maybe that you only signed up for maybe 47. These 143 courses, and I could say that, yeah, where you're going to have to pass the world yeah, exactly. Or paraphrase. I'm like, so yeah, there was a subject I was thinking about too, that there was maybe a few other science courses that the school would tell you that you had that they were required, that you had to take them just to be able to earn your degree, or just to be able to move on to the next level. And so these subjects right here, and back whenever I was in high school, especially, that I can remember that a lot of the courses, like English, I'm like, yeah, a few of the courses that the school board had that were teaching there, and the courses that you had to have in order to be able to graduate and earn your certificate, that there would be like English 1 and English 2 and English 3, and I do one or two that what do you call them, like, necessarily to where that exactly that or is that supposed to be, I guess, the next level right there, to where whenever you're going to be taking a subject, and I put this right here for like English and advanced grammar. So if there was a subject like that, which I don't think that there, maybe something like that, but more likely a lot of that stuff is done, using computers, using the tablets, just to be able to teach you, how to use the programs and how to read around. Like, yeah, that the other source of English, and you may start it out to where you write down notes into reminders about exactly, you start a sentence, and just by a sentence fragment, and then it goes by translation, and it goes by action verbs, and subverbs, and that source of language. But still, though, that different subjects that a school's going to have you is going to have you take, whenever you're going to be a student. And so it seems like a lot of times that whenever you're going to be a student, that sometimes it seems like that it's very frustrating whenever it comes to that you thought that maybe that you only had to go to school for 30 weeks or something like that, but then they say that that's for the full year, that these are the courses that you gotta take. So at the time that you one or two, that is that really called a sequel, or is that really just known as to where that you're the next level? After you pass one course, and then now they want you to take English 2, or exactly, there was another science class, that that you passed, and let's just say that if it's the GMO Life Novel, course, the Life Novel, I guess if you want to call it Life Novel or something like that, that has a lot to do with the study about the life, and the cultures, like National Geographic cultures, or like, so yeah, if anybody like say that, yeah, there are some subjects out there that it seems like exactly that they are what you call the next level, to where that they are titled the same thing, but they're just called 2 or maybe 3. It goes to the next level. So I guess to say that sometimes that if it's 2 English 2 or English 3 or English 4, and I think the highest it goes is English 3, but still, that they have these subjects right here that are going to be known as, it's like, for the next level. But still, though, that whenever you're going to be a student and just working hard to achieve for your goals, and sometimes that it may seem very complicated, to where that maybe the schools are going to be putting courses on your schedule, are going to continue scheduling you to enroll in these classes, and maybe that you did not sign up for all of them. But I know a couple of times I look at my schedule, and maybe I would see a course that I was scheduled to take, but then I was like, well, I didn't sign up for it. I did not enroll in this course, and so it's like, exactly that it seems like half the time you learn that too, that if your schedule is kind of speaking for itself, to where that you signed up, and sometimes it seems like that you agreed to only take 3 courses out of that major, and then maybe after that course or so, like after the course is over with, and it goes to the next set of courses. So sometimes, like I guess with most students, would maybe think this to where that whenever this student, if it's a he or a she, that gets enrolled in school, and they're just wanting to just kind of get done and get it over with, get the work over with, and kind of get it over with coming to class and doing their work. But then it's like that they just the schools just keep adding on courses to their schedule. But I mainly want to talk about right here, I'm talking about for like English 1, English 2, and English 3. And I was also thinking about using math. I'm like, yeah, math, that there's going to be long division 1, long division 2, and long division 3, basic math 1, basic math 2, and basic math 3. So yeah, there's going to be like a sequel, if you want to call it, like maybe the 2nd edition or the 3rd edition of the subject. And you'll likely say is that, oh, come on, I just had this subject. Why do I have to take it again? Or why is there a sequel? Or why is there what you call level 2 or level 3, edition 3 or something like that? I guess, what can we really explain to our children that, after you just had a subject, after you just passed a subject, and then now they're telling you that now the sequel has been announced to where that you have to pass to the next level. You got past this course. It's the same subject, but it's level 2 or level 3. But still, though, that almost any subject that you're going to be taking, it seems like that you liked it whenever it was easy. Yeah, so yeah, how many of us are going to say that, yeah, you liked it when it was pretty simple, but then whenever it gets harder, then that's whenever that you just really start not liking it, further. But, still, that talk about, whenever we were in gym class, about how many of us will maybe say is to where that if you were being gym class and maybe getting on the basketball team or maybe the volleyball team or something like that, on the soccer team, and I could say that in gym class, and let's just say that they put you on the schedule to perform in other other games, and maybe stuff that you didn't sign up for. So it's like sometimes it seems like that whenever you're going to be taking a subject, that it's basically that exactly that you kind of like, maybe about what it is agreed that you agreed to only participate in maybe 6 weeks or maybe 1/4 of the subjects, but then now they're putting you on a schedule to participate in more. But I guess being a student, though, it seems like exactly that the more work that they give you, if that means that the better, or that some students that may even say that it's all about putting more pressure on you, that whenever you first started, that you agreed to only complete certain courses, and that you were not scheduled to even participate in what's called the level 2 or level 3 of English, but still but let's just say, though, that with a lot of these subjects, though, we may not always agree that exactly that you had those subjects before. Let's just say if you had the subject before, but then maybe that the schools that told you that well, you got to take it again because this is here at our university, that this is what we teach here, and even though if you had that maybe in the earlier years, maybe in high school, that well, you got to take it again. So it seems like exactly that whenever you're going to be taking courses, especially if it's in college, or maybe since you were in middle school, maybe back whenever you were young, that you would have some of these similar courses, maybe in band class, and maybe that you've only you decided to only participate in maybe 7 weeks or so of this band, but then find out that it was going to be going on for maybe 11 weeks straight. But still, though, that whenever you're going to be a student, that it seems like exactly that you just kind of like want to only participate maybe for just a certain amount of time, maybe for 10 weeks or maybe for 6 weeks, that you just only want to participate in taking those courses, a certain time or so of the 3 months, it's like, say, yeah, exactly, that's not really a contract or nothing, but still that, whenever you're going to be taking these courses, that, a lot of times it seems like that, you're likely thinking too is to where that you're, whenever you take the courses, that you're only going to enroll in the ones that you know that you could attend and the ones that you know that you can do. So it seems like a lot of times that whenever other people, when other teachers and other classmates that get to know the students more, then it seems like there is to where that maybe not everything that you're going to be doing is based on the agreement. So it's like, yeah, exactly, that you agreed that you were only going to participate in only one semester or so of these courses, 3 courses, and you were only going to maybe do 7 weeks or maybe 10 weeks or so of the English and the science, and science astrologist, or maybe if it's the world paraphrase course or something like that. So you got these different courses here, and so it's like exactly that, whenever you first started, that it's possible that you were maybe told that you only had to complete maybe 3/4 or so of the classes that were required. But then whenever the school, whenever you see your schedule, that something changes on your schedule to where that maybe a course is dropped from the schedule, or maybe if a course is scheduled, is added on to your schedule. So it's like, yeah, exactly, that whenever a student, if it's a he or she that first starts their first day of class, whenever they first start enrolling in school, that they might agree to where that they're only there to complete maybe 3/4 or so, but still that, or maybe for 5 weeks straight, but that they're only going to be taking about 2 or 3 courses. So it's like, yeah, exactly, that next are the best. I titled this activity for next are the best, mainly because that exactly that a lot of those the clients, a lot of the people, a lot of those students who actually see your work, and if you do very well on your performances, as well as for doing your work and doing your work and coming to class like you're supposed to, and it seems like that they're almost each and every time that they're looking forward to the next objective, the next course. And so, yeah, exactly, that whenever the finals come around, and let's just say that if it's an event or something like that, and then it seems like exactly that you might agree on maybe on the forums as to where that you agree that this is going to be the last event that you're going to be participating in, and even if it's a meeting. So even if it is a meeting, that whenever you're going to be a student, that it's like exactly that whenever you first start enrolling, that there's a lot of things that you tell the schools that that you don't know this, or you don't have your degree in this or that, and so that's why that you're really enrolling. That's why you're enrolling. But after about maybe 6 months later, or after about maybe a year later, then exactly, then you might say something like, well, I didn't sign up. I did not agree to that. I did not agree to that form that says to where that there's going to be a next event at some point. But still, that so it's like, yeah, exactly, that with most students, what they maybe say is to where that whenever they think about their future and about what their major is, and let's just say that if the situation comes as to where that there's courses that they have to take, and maybe that they're not going to agree, he or she's not going to agree to take those courses, and you're also thinking too as to where, well, that's just, well, you got to pass these courses in order to be able to get your degree, and but still that but really, I'm like, for English 1, English 2, and English 3. Are those really sequels? And I don't even know if there's an English 4, but still that you have right here all these subjects right here. And some of them that you may have already taken, and some of them that you may not even have heard of, or that if you're wondering to where if you even have to have them. But still though, that so it's like, say, yeah, exactly, that some of the students that may even say too that, that I just really think that some of those subjects are just trying to get more of your time. Those teachers are trying to get more of your time. It seems like that's what it's all about. They're giving you more work, and then they're wanting more of your time. If you do very well, or for anything that you're trying to work hard on, and you're likely one or two that exactly that. Whenever you first started enrolling in a school, then it's possible that you might have said as to where that you agreed to where that you were only going to participate in these courses, but I don't know. I guess what are you going to say other than that? Whenever you're going to be whenever you're going to be thinking about your source of education, I guess you just got to think twice about as to where that maybe what you do is not just about you. It's about other people who want to get to know you and your work and the best for what you do know. And, even if you're going to school, even if you're majoring in maybe being an auto mechanic or somebody like that, scientist or auto mechanic, and it's like exactly that they see on your resume that you completed that you were in school for 7 years total, but then according to what your financial profile said that you were only enrolled, you were only planning on enrolling in maybe 2 years, and so you would maybe have to explain the details about that, to why did it take you so long just to graduate, or why did the schools keep you longer? But so it's like, whenever you start somewhere, it seems like to where that is this company or is this school going to keep you longer? Is this school or this company going to keep putting you on a schedule to take these courses, even though if you don't want them, you may not agree to take them all, but still that you might agree to where that they are very interesting, and some of those courses are pretty complicated, and maybe some of those courses you don't like them at all, but still, I guess it's all about the learning process, and like I mentioned before, is to where that if there's any students that may want to where that, exactly, why would you want to stop now whenever you can continue to work hard just to be able to show just be able to gain progress, because that chances are that there's going to be somebody that's going to ask about it, and if you get through those complicated challenges, that maybe you might see something impressive about your work. So it's the way I think about it too, that a lot of students that may think that to almost anything that they're going to be working on, it's not always easy, everybody. Yep, it's not always easy. And I guess you could probably say as to where that you may feel like you are a man working machine or a lady working machine or something like that, but you're working hard enough to where that exactly that you feel like maybe you got a little bit of a headache because of all the work that you're scheduled to do, and it's like that seems like that exactly that a lot of the work that you're going to be working with, and just thinking as to where that was not the original agreement, but anyway. So it seems like as to where that whenever you're going to be starting a job, then exactly, you might agree to where that this is only I'm only applying for a part-time position here at this company, and let's just say that exactly, that after the company trains you for about maybe 3 weeks, and then they put you on a schedule to attend a few of the meetings, and then they want you to go to a project, and it's like, excuse me, but I thought I mentioned on my application that I was only applying for a part-time position. This looks like it's full-time here, but so it seems like exactly that looking for a job, or if it's about your schedule, that if you see on your schedule that you're scheduled to take certain courses, and maybe that all those courses there that you might say that you've already took those courses, or you did not agree to get enrolled in those courses, or it's just a little bit too much, or maybe just not enough. But I don't know. I guess what are you gonna say other than that they're really testing you about what work that you do know and what work that you gotta know, just to be able to get what you're gonna get for where you're planning on or want to go within the next 5 years. But anyway, so it's like, yeah, exactly, that deal for English and advanced grammar. So it's like, in case if anybody will want to, or what's that? I'm like, well, it's subject that you say that, yeah, some of those subjects you say that you would need a computer just to complete a lot of those, about the advanced grammar, using the computer programs just to do that. But I guess you say that, in a new level especially, but talk about for next to the best. Next to the best, the course is about, you have right here are these students right here, and let's just say that with those students right there, like, yeah, the students right there, that they want to go ahead and mark there, for the date right there. But the date right there, and then I'm like, say, yeah, so whenever you get the schedule for whenever you're scheduled to take a certain course, then it's like certain class it is scheduled to get into class, then it's like exactly that from whatever that you mentioned on the application, and then for whatever that you explain to them about what you're good at and all that. But it's still that I guess the main focus, I guess, is about doing the best you can, but still that even though if you are scheduled to maybe take the sequel in the course, I'm like English 2, or maybe if it's English 3, or maybe it could be a history class, then they'll likely say is that they put you on the schedule. You're scheduled to get enrolled in the course, and you'll likely say that exactly, this was not originally this was not on the script that I read. So yeah, exactly, that whenever you're going to be enrolling in the school or applying for a job, that seems like, yeah, whenever you read a script, it seems like they'll tell you what all that you got to do and what all that you'll be doing whenever you get into that office, just to be able to train those clients and just to be able to work with those clients. But then after about maybe 5 weeks or so, or maybe after about maybe 2 weeks, and then they start telling you about the next objectives that the company wants you to do, and it's like exactly next to the best. Next to the next topic. I'm like, yeah, the next one. I'm like, the next project. It's going like, well, wait a minute. I thought this was temporary. So yeah, exactly that. But and I know that like if anybody say that will kind of get anybody nervous as to where that maybe if you were applying for a job, or maybe if you were enrolling in a certain course, and then they want to keep you longer. After you enroll, they want to keep you longer if you do pretty well, and maybe if they want to give you another chance, to give it another try, just to succeed, so far as how well that you do. So yeah, that so far as the courses and as well as the world, paraphrasing, and then English 1, English 2, and English 3. But talk about the certain subjects that we would like, and the certain subjects that we really like, and then the ones that we don't like at all. But anyway, really, if anybody says, yeah, what's the difference, huh? But anyway, talk about next to the best subjects. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day.